Imagine for a moment that you're sitting in a conversation with friends. You're laughing, sharing stories, but then, suddenly, your mind goes blank. You can't recall the name of someone you just met, and when you try to get back into the conversation, the words don't come as easily as they used to. It's embarrassing. You tell yourself, it's just stress, or I'm getting older, but deep down, you can't shake the nagging feeling that something's not quite right. What if I told you that these small lapses in memory, these subtle shifts in mood, could be more than just the effects of a busy life? What if they were signs of something bigger? Something like Alzheimer's disease, which affects millions of Americans every year. In fact, many people don't realize they're in the early stages because the clues are so small, so easy to overlook. But here's the thing, recognizing these subtle signs early on can make all the difference in the world. It can give you the chance to take control of your health, preserve your quality of life, and prevent further decline. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. You'll learn to spot the clues that many people miss, and you'll discover how to stay ahead of the curve. By the end of this, you'll feel empowered with knowledge and the ability to take action to protect your brain health. Let's get started and uncover the clues that could change everything. Sometimes, forgetting things like where you left your keys or what you needed from the grocery store is just part of being human. But what if you can't recall a recent conversation with your best friend or forget the details of a family event that just happened? That's a different ballgame. It might start as small moments of forgetfulness, but over time, these memory lapses can become more noticeable and more concerning. Think about how frustrating it feels when you can't remember someone's name. Now imagine that happening all the time. It's not just inconvenient, it's unsettling. One red flag to watch out for is struggling to remember things you've always been good at recalling. For example, let's say you've always been a whiz at planning birthday parties. Suddenly, you can't remember if you invited someone or bought the cake. That's more than just a slip-up, it's a sign to pay attention. Writing things down, using a planner, or setting phone reminders can help, but if you're leaning on these tools more than usual, it's worth asking yourself why. Here's another thing, memory issues often sneak up on people because they blame it on stress or a busy schedule. Sure, stress can mess with your focus, but when these moments become more frequent, like forgetting appointments or mixing up dates, it might be time to dig deeper. Don't shrug it off as just getting older. Healthy aging doesn't mean losing touch with your day-to-day memories. It's about prevention and staying sharp. So, what's the next step? Spotting these signs early gives you a head start. After all, recognizing patterns in your memory is a form of self-care, just like exercising or eating right. And speaking of self-care, you'll see how trouble with everyday tasks ties into this puzzle in surprising ways. Stay with me, you won't want to miss what's next. Imagine sitting down to make your favorite recipe, you've done it 100 times. But today, you can't remember if it's 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon of salt. Or maybe balancing your checkbook, something you once handled with ease, suddenly feels like solving a math puzzle. These aren't just small hiccups, they're signs that something deeper might be going on. Tasks that used to be second nature can become daunting, and that shift doesn't just frustrate you, it chips away at your confidence. One telltale sign is repeatedly struggling with steps in a routine you've mastered. For instance, you've always been great at organizing your kids' schedules, but now you find yourself missing soccer practice or forgetting to pack their lunches. To stay on track, some people try making to-do lists or setting alarms. While these can be lifesavers, relying on them for things you once did effortlessly could be a wake-up call. These moments of confusion can feel isolating, too. You might hesitate to tell anyone, brushing it off as just a bad day. But over time, the fear of making mistakes can lead to avoiding those tasks altogether. This is where the importance of an active, healthy lifestyle shines. Activities like mindfulness exercises or light brain games can help rebuild focus and keep you engaged. It's not just about doing, it's about thriving. But here's the thing, these struggles don't exist in a vacuum. They often come hand in hand with other changes, like losing track of conversations or forgetting words mid-sentence. If this sounds familiar, stick around. What's coming up next will help connect the dots in a way that might surprise you. Have you ever found yourself mid-conversation, struggling to find the right word? It's like it's right on the tip of your tongue, but no matter how hard you try, it just won't come. Everyone has a moment like that now and then, but when it happens frequently, it can be a sign that something more is at play. This is more than just a brain fart, it's a shift in cognitive function. If you're constantly losing your train of thought, repeating yourself, or struggling to keep up with a conversation, it's time to pay closer attention. Imagine trying to catch up with a friend during a dinner party, but you're unable to contribute to the conversation because you can't find the words. Not only does it feel frustrating, but it can also affect your relationships. People might even start to notice that you're zoning out or not fully engaging. This type of mental fatigue is something to take seriously, especially if it begins to occur regularly. The good news is that there are ways to improve this. Exercises to boost mental clarity, like reading, puzzles, or even taking up a new hobby, can help keep the brain sharp. But it's important to remember that when word-finding issues become frequent, they might signal something bigger. Being proactive about your health, through things like a balanced diet and stress reduction, can improve your cognitive well-being and keep these mental lapses in check. Now, this might seem like a small issue, but when combined with other signs, it paints a bigger picture. For instance, if these lapses in conversation are happening alongside mood changes or disorientation, it's a red flag you shouldn't ignore. Keep reading, because understanding how emotional shifts play into this could unlock some important clues. Have you noticed that you're more irritable than usual, or maybe even withdrawn from social events you used to love? Sudden mood swings that don't seem to have an obvious cause could be a sign that something's not right. It's more than just a bad day, it's a change in your emotional state that can impact how you interact with the world around you. These shifts in personality, like becoming more anxious or avoiding social gatherings, aren't just uncomfortable, they can feel alienating, both for you and for those around you. Imagine being the life of the party one minute and retreating to your room the next, feeling overwhelmed by the noise and chaos. Or maybe you snap at your loved ones over minor things. These unexpected shifts could indicate an early stage of cognitive decline, especially when they start to feel like they're happening more frequently. You might start wondering why everything feels so different, and that sense of losing yourself can be distressing. What's crucial here is recognizing these changes as early warning signs, not just as mood swings that will pass. Addressing this through mindfulness or stress management techniques can help, as they offer ways to maintain emotional balance. But it's also important to consider the role of self-care, eating well, exercising, and taking time to recharge. These small actions can help create a foundation of emotional resilience. These shifts in mood aren't isolated, they often go hand in hand with other cognitive changes, like memory lapses or disorientation. If you're starting to notice these things in your own life, don't let them slide. Up next, we'll dive into how these emotional changes can affect your sense of time and place, and why that's so important to understand. Have you ever found yourself unsure of what day it is or completely lost in a place you know like the back of your hand? It's a strange feeling, like suddenly waking up in an unfamiliar world, even though everything around you is familiar. Forgetting the day of the week, or getting lost in your own neighborhood, can feel like a slow unraveling of your own sense of reality. This isn't just a random mix-up, it could be a signal that your cognitive health needs attention. This type of disorientation is one of the more concerning symptoms of Alzheimer's because it's tied to the brain's ability to process time and location. Think about it, when you can't track time, it affects your routine, your commitments, and your sense of control. Forgetting where you parked your car, or how to navigate around your house, can feel disorienting and unsettling. Over time, this could lead to a greater sense of frustration and confusion, making it harder to perform even the simplest of tasks. But don't just ignore it when these moments start cropping up. Being proactive is key. There are ways to help your brain stay on top of time and place. Setting regular routines, using calendars, or even employing memory exercises can help keep your mind sharp and grounded. It's about keeping the brain engaged, just like you would with any other part of your body. If you've been noticing these shifts, it's time to pay attention. It might be easy to dismiss them as getting older, but what you're seeing may be a deeper issue that needs a little more than just a few adjustments. Keep reading, because the next step will help you understand how your memory and mental health are more connected than you might realize. So, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. Those subtle clues you've been noticing, the memory lapses, the word-finding struggles, the shifts in mood, are not just random events. They're signals from your brain, and catching them early is your key to taking control of your health. The more proactive you are in recognizing these signs, the better equipped you'll be to make lasting changes that can help you thrive. Now, don't let these concerns sit on the back burner. If you're starting to notice any of these signs in yourself or someone you love, it's time to take action. Start small, incorporate mindfulness practices, create a routine, and prioritize self-care. Remember, small adjustments now can lead to big rewards in the long run. You've already started down the path of awareness, and that's a huge first step. And here's the real kicker: if you stay on top of your brain health today, you could not only slow down cognitive decline but potentially reverse some of the damage over time. So, why wait? Make the choice now to protect your memory, your mood, and your quality of life. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss the next video, where we'll dive deeper into actionable steps you can take today to keep your brain sharp and your life vibrant.